Welcome to this two-part overview of disciplinary literacy. In Part 1, we will explore what disciplinary literacy is and the role of every teacher in enabling learners to think, read, write and speak like experts in their subject. In Part 2, we will go on to explore what disciplinary literacy looks like in practice from early level to the senior phase. This brief overview has been produced as a pre-watch activity for the Literacy in English Curriculum Network. The purpose of the video is not intended to provide a comprehensive overview of the topic, but instead outlines a few ideas for reflection and further exploration with colleagues. A list of further reading is provided at the end of the video for colleagues wishing to explore the topic in more depth. You can also read about literacy across learning via our National Literacy Professional Learning community. A link to the National Literacy PLC can be found in the further reading list. Disciplinary literacy is an approach to improving literacy across the curriculum and is a key recommendation from the Education Endowment Fund Improving Literacy in Secondary Schools Guide. Research recognises that literacy skills are both general and subject specific, emphasising the value in teaching young people how to read, write and communicate effectively within different disciplines. Timothy Shanahan, a leading professor of literacy education, summarises that each field of study has its own special ways of using text to create, communicate and evaluate knowledge, and if students are to advance academically, then it is vital that they become acquainted with these specialised ways of reading and writing. Children and young people need to know how to apply both general and specialised literacy skills in sophisticated ways across different disciplinary contexts. For example, in biology, a learner may read a text about photosynthesis and assume that it is a factual account, suppressing thoughts about the author of the text. However, in contrast, in the English classroom, a learner could read with an active awareness of the author and the context in which the text was written. As learners progress through an increasingly specialised secondary school curriculum, there is a growing need to ensure that pupils are trained to access the academic language and literacy conventions of different subjects.
The ability to adjust the various literacy practices adopted across subjects is particularly evident in the wording of these National 5 History and Physics Describe questions and responses. Describe is just one example of the many command words used across subjects. Those are the words used in questions which indicate how a question should be answered. Other possible example command words include explain, evaluate, justify, and outline. In the history example, the word describe invites learners to give examples of the impact Scottish immigrants had in their new homes, whereas the physics describe question asks learners to list the process or method for calculating average speed. Although both questions ask the learner to describe, the style in which the responses are written is very different. The history response is written as a narrative, whereas the physics response reads as a procedural text. To sum up, in the most effective practice, teachers enable the children and young people in their class to access their subject by teaching both emerging subject knowledge as well as the literacy skills associated with the discipline to access this knowledge.